Hello and welcome to Swindon Town's 2006-2007 season review. It was a promotion-winning year, so let's start with the big kick-off. Andy Monkhouse became Dennis Wise's first addition to the squad, signing a one-year contract from Rotherham United. Defenders Jamie Vincent and Adi Williams, midfielder Curtis Weston and striker Fanola Anabuje also joined before the month of June came to a close. Goalkeeper Peter Brezovan arrived on a one-year loan deal from FC Brno, and the stopper made his first appearance in an 8-1 demolition of Cirencester Town. Australian striker Royce Brownlee also puts pen to paper after an impressive trial period. Just days before the season started, Wise adds Nottingham Forest midfielder Paul Evans to his squad, and he was to have a notable impact as the season unfolded. The opening game of the 2006-2007 League Two season saw Town make the long trip to Hartlepool United. And it was to be a memorable afternoon at Victoria Park. Goalkeeper Peter Brezovan saved 2 penalties, and Town emerged gladiatorial winners with Lee Peacock netting the only goal of the game to bring the points back to Wiltshire.
The game will never be forgot, I don't think, for Peter Brezovan's debut. Unbelievable, you know, totally unbelievable. The way he played that day, I would think, is a perfect goal, you know, goalkeeping display. And we had the radio on, and you know, 5 Live was full of this bloke that Peter, or Petter, they couldn't pronounce his second name, from Swindon, and how well he played. It was fantastic, you know. So yeah, a great start to the season.
3 days later, and Swindon are back in action, this time for the first home game of the campaign. Barnet provided the opposition, and it was the visitors who took a shock first-half lead through Mickey Bailey. Ricky Shake's 54th minute effort levelled the affair before Australian Royce Brownlee scored a sizzling second in extra time to earn a second successive 3 points for Wise's men. Spirits were high going into the first Saturday home fixture, which saw Rochdale make the journey to SN1. Town weren't firing on all cylinders though. Alan Goodall's own goal just before the break proved to be the difference between the two sides. A first ever trip to Darlington's new home, the 96.6 TFM Arena, came about in mid-August for what was another long trek to the northeast for Town's superb travelling support. Paul Evans netted his first goal in a Swindon shirt. Then Christian Roberts finished off with a fine team move to make sure of a 2-1 win.
I wasn't sure, you know, if Dennis was a bit superstitious or what, but we did exactly the same thing as we did for the Hartlepool match. We went up there on the Friday, trained at Leeds, stayed in the same hotel, you know, same routine, and I remember the game at Darlington, you know, to start with, they really got at us. I scored my first goal for the club on the from a free kick, you know, and I was really happy with that. Lee Peacock was trying to pinch it, but I've actually, you know, got it off him, and then, you know, I think we settled down a lot better then, played some good football, and Christian got his first goal of the season, which was very well deserved. You know, I think Rob will be playing well at the start of the season, and I think they got a goal back, but we hung on, and it was, you know, 4 wins out of 4, which is a great start to the season.
The last game in August saw Stockport County provide the test, and Aaron Brown's fine free kick opened the scoring against the Hatters. Christian Roberts doubled the lead after the break to continue Town's top-of-the-table charge. Friday night football saw a trip to face Mark Wright's outfit, and it was to be a resolute Swindon performance. Backed by another impressive away following, Town saw an early effort from Aaron Brown ruled out before a double from Lee Peacock after the break secured a valuable victory. Contrasting emotions of football were evident at the racecourse ground as Swindon succumbed to their first defeat of the campaign. Paul Evans fired the Robins ahead with a 40-yard wonder strike. Ryan Valentine then struck twice in as many minutes to put the Red Dragons in front. Not even Paul Ince's first appearance in a Swindon shirt could prevent defeat.
Wrexham away was a massive disappointment really. We've been on a good little run, and obviously it was Ince's first game as well, which was a bigger disappointment. All the lads want to impress, it's not like a big new signing, but Evo got an absolute wonder goal in that, but the lads didn't go up there. There wasn't the same composure we showed in previous games, and they managed to get a 2-1 win out of us.
Next up, a mouth-watering encounter with the MK Dons, and it didn't disappoint. Over 8,000 flocked to the county ground to see what was a cracking encounter under the lights. The visitors took the lead through John Paul McGovern, but Jack Smith equalised from the spot on the stroke of half-time. Paul Evans' penalty 10 minutes after the restart sealed a win to get Town back on track. Former loanee Trevor Benjamin returned to haunt his old club as the big striker scored the only goal of the game to send the Posh back to London Road with all 3 points. It was a frustrating afternoon for Town boss Dennis Wise, who was unable to take anything from the game, despite finishing with 4 strikers on the pitch. Meadow Lane was the venue for Town's next test. Wise made several changes to his side following the disappointment of Peterborough's encounter, with Aaron Brown, Fanola Onabuje and Royce Brownlee handed rare starts. Onabuje repaid the manager's faith by opening the scoring on 47 minutes. But the equaliser came through Alan White for the Magpies. The midweek trip to Adams Park brought about a reunion with former Robin striker Tommy Mooney, and it was the veteran frontman who was to have the last laugh in this League Two clash. Australian Royce Brownlee fired his side into the lead on 51 minutes, and with Swindon on course for a welcome 3 points, Mooney struck with a 90th minute leveller, silencing the hordes of Town fans inside the ground. The last game of September saw Boston United make the long trip to Wiltshire. Having taken just 2 points from their last 3 games, the pressure was building with October just around the corner. The afternoon started well with Andy Monkhouse firing Town ahead on 25 minutes. Town paid the price for failing to take their chances, and they were denied victory once again. League Two newcomers Accrington Stanley provided the opposition in the first game of October, and John Coleman's men lived up to their robust reputation. Andy Todd's first half opener left Town with a tough task. But Lee Peacock's 4th goal of the campaign ensured Swindon left with a share of the spoils. The 4-game run of draws ends with a 3-0 thumping over Grimsby Town. The game was marred by a serious injury to keeper Peter Brezovan. Captain A.D. Williams took over in between the sticks, performing admirably as goals from Pook, Monkhouse and Peacock secured a moral-boosting victory. Town's last ever visit to Gay Meadow also proved to be the last under the management of Dennis Wise and Gus Poyet. Goals from Fanola Onabuje and Aaron Brown secured a 2nd consecutive win, which kept Town amongst the chasing pack. Although the win came at a cost, with Andy Monkhouse sustaining another hamstring injury, which would rule him out for the next 4 weeks of the campaign.
Shrewsbury away when Wisey called it a day. It was a great result. It was a difficult game. I remember the conditions were poor. There was a lot of rain that night before and on the day of the game, and it was a bombshell after the game that he left us. And the club asked me, obviously, would I be interested to take over on the short term. It's something, as you know, that I would love to do in the future, coaching, managing. And of course I accepted it. Someone had to do it and someone had to take charge, and I was honoured to be asked and to be thought of in that category, and I really thank the board now and the chairman for allowing me to do that. For 2 weeks it was a busy time for me, and I brought Barry Hunter in, my connections down at Reading, and Baz was available, and you need help. When you take over as a manager, or particularly like myself as a player manager, You need people around you, and you know, if I could have brought in 2 or 3 people, that would have made life a lot easier. But you know, we brought Barry in, and you know, we give it our best shot. It was manic, and we enjoyed it, but it was different.
Adi Williams' first game in charge couldn't have been against more difficult opposition. In form, Lincoln City arrived at the county ground chasing promotion, and they weren't about to offer Town any favours. Jamie Forrester was on hand to capitalise on a defensive mistake just after the hour to score the decisive winner. Next up was a home clash with Hereford United, and a goal on the half hour from Christian Roberts sent Town on their way. However, a goal either side of the break from Andy Williams sent the Bulls away with a win, leaving Swindon without a single point from their 2 home encounters.
It's difficult to answer, you know, how it changes from being a player to a manager in, you know, one sentence. Everything changes. You know, my relationship with all the lads, I think, have been good. I enjoy their company, we get on well. But all of a sudden, you're picking a side and you're leaving players out. And, you know, it's not personal. It's just what you think is best for the team, for the club. And of course, you know, I've been in that situation before. Managers have dropped me, left me out for various reasons, and it's not nice. So, you know, there was 1 or 2 knocks on the door and said, you know, why was this and why was that? But one thing I've always wanted to be is fair. You know, I think I'm a fair fella, and I'm an honest man, and I told them the reason, you know, and at the end of the day, then they walked out, and I think, you know, they weren't happy being left out of that team, but they can understand it. So, you know, everything changes. I was changing in a different dressing room. I was turning up at a different time. The whole shebang is completely a new experience, and one that I'll always remember, and enjoyed it. The hours were, you know, completely different to what a professional footballer was used to. You know, professional footballers are spoiled. The sport rotten. They turn up, they've got their kit laid out, they change, they train, they throw their boots down, they get the boots clean, they get their kit clean, they look good, they're in the mirror, washing themselves and looking nice to drive home, and then they do that again the following day. And you know, when you're a manager, you're first in and you're last away. It's as simple as that. And you know, I said to the board and the chairman and everybody that if it's going to be me for a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it might be, then guarantee that I'll give it 100%. And you know, I'll always look in the mirror, and I know for a fact that myself and Barry, we give it everything. We were travelling around the country, watching reserve games, watching first team games. As soon as we finished training, we were talking about the next day's training. You know, do we need to do a bit more with the strikers, or do we need to do a little bit on the defensive work? So, you know, the whole lot changes, but one hell of an experience. I'm just truly grateful that I was given the chance.
Thanks, Willie. Yes, we're very fortunate to secure the services of Paul Sturrock, obviously a very experienced manager. He's bringing in with him a team of coaches, which includes Kevin Summerfield and John Blackley. They will continue the work that Dennis Wise did to try and consolidate our fight for promotion this season.
Must be pleased and relieved, I guess. He's arrived and you got someone back on top.
Yes, he's on the A list. He was the man that possibly we didn't think we'd be able to get, but we rang him, and he's accepted the job, and the board is absolutely delighted that he's accepted the appointment of being Swindon Town manager. It's great that we've had 2 high-profile managers this year. We got Dennis Wise, which we didn't think we'd ever be able to get a manager as high-profile as him, and unfortunately he's gone off to Leeds a bit sooner than anticipated. We thought we possibly would be able to keep him for a year, then we'd be off somewhere. But anyway, that he's gone, and we've replaced him with another A-League sort of man, Paul Sturrock. Great, fantastic.
What made you decide to come to Swindon?
The challenge. I think I was asked, the first club I was asked for, and I've always believed in that. If somebody wants you, if things are all worked out properly, that you go. And they asked me. My coaches were very comfortable with it. You know, it's a nice part of the country. So, and in the end, there's a football team that's 4th top of the league. It won't take much tinkering, but you know, There are one or two areas we'll have to strengthen, but you know, we're very comfortable that we're going to be competitive all season.
You know, I knew when I was offered the appointment to take over that they were looking, and obviously having interviews with people, and I think Paul Sturrock's name came up, and you know, I'm not sitting here to be nice to anybody. It's a fantastic appointment. You know, he's got promotions under his belt. He's been at big club. He's worked with big players. He knows the lower divisions. You know, he knows who to ring to make loan signings and things. And a great appointment. You know, I think Swindon Town have been blessed this season to have two great managers. I should say three, but two great managers. Obviously, Dennis at the start of the season, and the gaffer currently. So yeah, big appointments, but I think the board and the chairman should be congratulated with getting those two right.
Paul Sturrock's first away game in charge saw Town make the trip down the M5 to take on Torquay United. A penalty on the hour from striker Christian Roberts, his fourth in 3 games, was enough to secure a valuable victory. The win came at a cost though, with Paul Evans sustaining an injury which sidelined him for the month. Town arrived back at the county ground for the visit of the Shakers, eager to register important back-to-back victories. Paul Scott opened the scoring, but then another strike from in-form Roberts levelled the affair. A last-minute own goal from Bury defender John Fitzgerald secured the Swindon win.
You know, as a striker, you're judged on goals, and to be fair, that month I got a few on the score sheet, which is always nice, you know, because that's what I was judged by, you know, scoring goals. You know, the new gaffer had come in by then. You know, I think he came in against Carlisle, and it was a fresh start for everyone. You know, having seen Dennis and Gus go, so it was important that you get on the right side of him.
Paul Sturrock's warning to his squad ahead of the trip to Field Mill fell on deaf ears on what proved to be a thoroughly disappointing night for the Swindon fans who'd made the lengthy midweek trip. On a freezing night, first half goals from Richie Barker and Simon Brown did the damage on an evening where Swindon failed to live up to their promotion-chasing tag. 4 days later, and a rejuvenated Swindon side arrived at the Bescot Stadium and put on one of their best performances of the campaign. A first ever league goal from Lukas Jutovic set the pulses running, and a second half penalty from Christian Roberts sealed a momentous victory, leaving the Saddlers high and dry as the promotion race intensified with Christmas approaching.
Paul, you must be pleased with the way things have gone so far.
Well, several performances are not being the standard we would like, but to be fair, the players took on board the criticism of the Mansfield game and worked very hard for a couple of days to work out a new system. And I think I'm pleased that they've responded properly and that they've taken on board what we've been looking for.
But results-wise, just one defeat since you come in.
Yes, as I said, we were left a good squad of players here, but we've tinkered a wee bit. We do feel that there's certain things we're going to have to change at the windows to kick on, because I think a lot of teams will be having a go in the windows, but at this minute in time things touch wood are going well.
Now this weekend, obviously your first experience of a derby in these parts. How are you looking forward to the visit of Bristol Rovers?
Well, it's not a real derby, and I'd like to believe that Oxford's are deadliest enemies, but it comes close. I think they'll bring a big crowd, and that's what we're looking at, a decent atmosphere. They played very well last night, in the end it's going to be a very difficult game.
Yeah, you're used to local derbies. I mean, I guess when you were at Dundee, that was through the back gate for a derby, wasn't it?
100 yards away, and then I had Exeter Plymouth, which was a bit naughty. Portsmouth Southampton was worse, and then Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United takes a bit of beating. So, I've tasted all those derbies over the years.
The Derby Day encounter with Bristol Rovers proved to be another exciting affair, with over 10,000 inside the county ground, and a mouth-watering clash was in store. Swindon didn't disappoint, with all the goals coming in the first 17 minutes. A shock opener from Rovers striker Richard Walker was soon cancelled out by another impressive effort from up-and-coming youngster Lukas Jutovic. The Curtis Weston thunderbolt from 30 yards proved to be enough to secure the win. Wycombe were the Boxing Day Blues to arrive in Wiltshire, but Swindon banished any myths of a post-Christmas hangover with another established performance. Lucas Jutovic and Lee Peacock provided the goals, and Paul Sturrock's promotion charge was very much alive and kicking. A third home tie in 2 weeks saw Notts County the visitors, and the Magpies proved they were made of stern stuff, making Town battle back from Laurie Duffield's opener. Swindon had Michael Timlin's deflected effort to thank for a share of the spoils on what was the final clash of what had been a memorable 2006. The MK Dons were the first opponents of 2007, with Martin Allen's men once again found in robust mood. In turn, Swindon grafted all afternoon, and Phil Smith's penalty save from Isel McLeod's spot kick was key. Lee Peacock's close-range strike turned out to be the only goal of the encounter. After heading out of the FA Cup at Crystal Palace 7 days earlier, Town returned to the league with a home clash against managerless Wrexham. An early thunderbolt from Sophine Zaboob set the Robins on their way to victory, with another penalty from Christian Roberts enough to seal the points. The arduous trip to York Street could have easily proved the backdrop for an away defeat. But Swindon showed their true promotion credentials with a professional performance at League Two strugglers Boston. Impressive efforts from Christian Roberts, Michael Poog and Blair Sturrock did the damage, with a return to League One still very much in the Robins' eyes. The home clash with Macclesfield saw Paul Ince return to Wiltshire for the first time since leaving as a player earlier in the campaign. Ricky Shakes followed up what proved to be his last goal as a Swindon player with a memorable celebration. Lee Peacock grabbed the second goal to make it 4 consecutive league wins. Having been undone by the Posh earlier in the campaign at the county ground, Swindon were well aware of the threat posed by the Posh as they arrived at London Road for the last game in January. Peter Gain fired the home side ahead. Then substitute Blair Sturrock drew level with his first touch of the game, just 2 minutes after coming on as an 86th-minute replacement.
I think in January we got a good home win against Wrexham 2-1 at home. Robbo got another penalty, and Sophie, good goal. But like I said, it's good to get a win over them, especially as they turned us over and ruined our little run earlier on in the season. Another home game with Macclesfield. It was nice to see Ince back. He was such a top guy when he was here. Really helped a lot of the lads. But it was also good that we managed to get one over on him with our poor performance down there in December. But we managed to, we got a good first half goal. Shakesy with that infamous stance, he's a little bit of robotics and everything, a bit of moonwalking, and then managed to sneak a little free kick in nearer the end. January finished with another long trip up with Peterborough. Again, the lads showed good character. We went 1-0 down, and Blair managed to pull us back into it right near the end with a nicely taken goal. But it was good just to get something from that game. It was a real bonus. Again, there was another team that beat us earlier on the season to at least get a point and prove something to ourselves.
Andy Monkhouse returned to Swindon for the first time since his permanent move to Victoria Park earlier in the season, and it was his towering header that proved decisive. The result was also marred by what proved to be a season-ending injury for skipper Adi Williams. Darlington were the second team inside 7 days to make the long journey down from the northeast, but Andy Nicholas's well-taken opener looked to have banished any pre-match nerves. However, Martin Smith's eye for goal meant the affair ended all square, with the Quakers providing stubborn opposition. A run of results continued at Underhill, where Swindon faced a rejuvenated Barnet side who did nothing but dent Town's promotion ambitions. Eager to avenge their August defeat by the Robins, Barnet secured all the points thanks to a debut goal from Oliver Allen. With words of warning ringing in their ears after a poor midweek show, Paul Sturrock knew nothing less than 3 points would do against visitors Chester City. Thankfully, a 9th-minute Jack Smith penalty was enough to settle the affair. Any signs of an upturn in fortune were dashed at Edgeley Park with another lacklustre away display. Patrick Nabusi's full debut for the Robins was overshadowed by a goal from Liam Dickinson and a brace from Anthony Elding. And Jarell Eiffel was sent off for Swindon with 15 minutes remaining. Town's topsy-turvy form continued with a nerve-settling win against John Coleman's Accrington Stanley side. Another penalty from Jack Smith, followed by a goal from Andy Nicholas, was enough to secure a valuable victory in front of just over 6,000 inside the county ground. The mid-March trip to Cleethorpes saw Swindon's poor run on the road continue as the Robins were downed by Kieran Toner's 73rd minute finish. Michael Timlin was also sent off on what was another forgettable away display. After a deadline day delve into the transfer market, Swindon's new-look side took to the field against Lincoln City, eager to make their mark in front of the Sky Sports cameras. But the Robins went behind to an early Mark Stalliot goal. Christian Roberts was on hand with a crisp finish to level things up, and then Barry Corn netted on his debut. Lee Peacock added a third shortly after the restart. And despite Stalliot's second of the game before time, Swindon held on to kickstart their promotion charge.
Your closest promotion rivals, score 3 goals, take 3 points. How important is that for you?
Oh, it's a massive game for us. We were just delighted with the 3 points. To come away from home, score 3 goals against a team who's doing well in the league, it's been a great game. It's been a hard game, but I think we deserved it in the end.
You've gone 3 games as well away from home where you got 3 defeats. So to turn that around here at Sincil Bank must mean a lot.
Yeah, I don't think we performed too well lately, but we've been working hard on the training field, trying to keep our shape. But today, I think at the end it was just about desire and a will to win, and we stuck in there.
Let's have a word with Lee Peacock as well. Lee, your goal proved to be crucial, and you nearly got a second as well with that free kick that hit the bar.
Yeah, I don't take them in training or anything like that. Just in the matches, I managed to score one before that and then hit the bar there. So might still be on them for next week.
It's been a bit inconsistent from you recently in terms of results. How big a confidence boost is that result?
Massive. I mean, especially away from home at a team like Lincoln, you know what I mean? It's a massive result. It just keeps the pressure on the boys who are playing today and the results that went yesterday. So we've just got to keep pushing on. I mean, I think the main thing for us is concentrate on our games, let the results around whatever's going to happen. We can't influence that. We've just got to concentrate on our own game and hopefully get 3, keep pushing till the end of the season. Hopefully we'll be up there.
For 2 hours at least, you're in the 3rd spot, the 3rd automatic promotion place. What does that mean to you?
Everything. That's where you want to be. I mean, at the moment it means nothing, you know what I mean? But at the end of the season, that's where we want to be, there or further up. I mean, the playoffs is, I mean, everybody's dropping points and that. We've had results go for us recently, so hopefully we can just carry on. I mean, the endeavour today was fantastic from the lads. They showed massive amount of passion, you know what I mean, just to grind out that result, and hopefully that can be a stepping stone for us just to go on further.
Jamie, well, if you could do the honours for us, because Lee Peacock is the Powerade man of the match. Well played, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Good. Happy days.
Cheers. Well done, boys. Paul, that was a tremendous game to watch. Was it supposed to be that open?
No, it wasn't supposed to be that open, but when you play Roberts on one side and Zaboob on the other, you sometimes have a problem with getting them to work back the park. But very pleased for about 65-70 minutes, and then obviously second goal made it very jittery for us.
You're back up into that 3rd automatic promotion place for a couple of hours at least. Is that important for you?
Well, I think we've got to be in the pecking order and in the race right up to the end. You know, we're not going to give up without a fight. We know we've been disappointing over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'm hoping the freshness of these new players will put an edge. I think some of them showed that today. They all of a sudden showed a different side of them. And in the end, I thought the 2 front men I was very excited about.
Barry Corr, you know him well from your Sheffield Wednesday days. You brought him in, he got a goal for you.
Well, he's not match fit. I'm saying obviously because he hasn't been playing much, but and he's obviously carried a lot of injuries in his career, and I'm hoping now that he will manage to kick-start his career with us, because I think he's an exciting talent.
You've still got a game in hand over Lincoln. You're 3 points above them now.
That's Rochdale, who scored 7 on Saturday, so we seem to be going all the time to where the form sides are. As I said, I'm very, very pleased for the players. They worked very hard today. They did the things we asked them to do, and some weeks lately they haven't. And to be fair, they grasped the nettle today, and I'm very pleased for them.
Paul, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Game of two halves at the county ground saw the Shrews take a first half lead through veteran frontman Leo Fortune West. However, 2 goals in 6 second half minutes from Barry Corr, and then Christian Roberts ensured a second successive 3-point haul.
Month of March, a very disappointing start to the month. We had a long journey to Stockport and we were very disappointed on the day. We got a real good seeing to. I think it was the biggest defeat of our season. 3-0 against Stockport, which, when you don't turn up for the game, it's always a hard case, and that was the case then. Accrington, we came back here, we won 2-0, which was a great result. It was always important to win your home games. Third game of the month was Grimsby away, which was very disappointing. Another, it seemed at the time we were having a rocky patch away from home. Grimsby was a bad result because it was our second defeat in 3 weeks. Fourth game, which was the live game on Sky against Lincoln, a different team turned up. A different Swindon Town team, and we really got at them, made our presence felt, and we picked up a fantastic result. Followed by the 5th game, which was Shrewsbury at here. Once again, it's always important you pick up points at home, and we were lucky to do that. We beat them 2-1, and it was an indifferent month. It was a hard travelling. It was a hard games came thick and fast, and it was a really difficult month.
The rearranged trip to Spotland provided a tough test, with the home side having already registered some notable victories over high-end opposition. Chances were created, but Swindon were frustrated by another resolute performance from the home back line. The bank holiday Monday trip to Edgar Street had all the makings of an entertaining game, and with the travelling support giving their full backing to the team once again, 3 points were there for the taking. However, a determined display from Graham Turner's outfit meant a point was all that was taken home. The next home game saw Torquay United the visitors to SN1 with 3 points, the order of the day. Blair Sturrock's second minute set Town on their way, only for Lee Thorpe to equalise from the spot with 8 minutes remaining. Swindon's blushes were spared though, with Lucas Jutovic coming off the bench to hit an impressive winner to secure the much-needed 3 points. The Red and White Army followed Sturrock's men to Manchester, with Gig Lane providing the backdrop for another key game in the promotion race. Chris Casper's men were no pushovers, with home keeper Andy Warrington pulling off a string of fine saves. He was left to super sub Lucas Jutovic to secure the points once again, striking with 5 minutes left on the clock. The pre-match talk ahead of Mansfield Town's arrival at the county ground was all about promotion, and with the pressure on, Town wasted no time in getting off the mark through Barry Corr's 4th minute effort, sparking rapturous celebrations from all sides of the county ground. An own goal from John Olav Helder sealed Mansfield's fate. The final away game of the season saw Town make the short trip to the Memorial Stadium, with promotion back to League One on offer. Hordes of expectant Robins fans looked on as Ricky Lambert's impressive effort from a distance secured a valuable victory for Paul Trollope's promotion chasers. Town's Day of Destiny saw over 14,700 pack into the county ground to witness the climax of Town's League Two campaign. Gerald Ifield's header on 52 minutes handed Sturrock's men a deserved lead to send the home fans into raptures. A last-gasp effort from Dean Keats secured the title for the Saddlers, although the 1-1 draw proved enough to secure the coveted third promotion place and ensure League One football returned to Wiltshire at the first time of asking.
I can honestly say it's the best feeling I've ever had in football. I think partly because I played so much part of the season, and I mean, to play the season on Sunderland has just been the best year of my life, to be honest. Everything just fitted into place, just feel so homey and just loving it.
Brilliant. You must feel really proud that you won the Player of the Season and everything.
Yeah, that's the icing on the cake. The big thing was team-wise promotion, you know what I mean? It gets the club back where it belongs at least, you know what I mean? Financially for the club, everything. You know what I mean, the lads, I'm just so proud of the lads. It's been a massive team effort and we managed to get there.
Well done.
Happy days.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, unbelievable. It's been like a long time coming. We've been waiting 3 weeks for the day to come. It's been unbelievable in front of the home crowd, such a big crowd as well. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, you must be feeling really proud. So you won an award before the game. Do you feel proud that you've achieved this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable. I never thought I'd be playing so much to get the Player of the Season as well. So, exceeded all my expectations. It's been unbelievable.
To get promotion straight back after relegation, is massive, and it just gives everybody a lift, whether you're a player, your staff, your office worker, the town. It just gives everyone a buzz to know that you'll be playing, in League One next season. And I think from League One to the Championship is a massive difference. It's quite a big divide now when you think of some of the sides that are in the Championship. So. But first things first, mission accomplished really. Promotion was everything at the beginning of the season, and thankfully we've achieved it.
What a nail-biting finish to the season. Thankfully, we were all celebrating another promotion for manager Paul Sturrock. Don't forget to tune into the main menu where you can get a selection of our bonus features. Let's hope we'll all be here again next season celebrating another promotion.